What's up, everyone? This is Dr. Webb here. In this video, I'm going to talk about what it was like going to war. For those who don't know, I spent 8 years in the Air Force, including a tour to Iraq in 2005. And today, I'm going to talk to you about my experiences kind of going over there. So stay tuned. All right, so in this video, I'm going to talk about my experiences going to war. In high school, my high school was on a quarter system basis. So by the time that my senior year came around, I had already completed all of my requirements for graduation by December. So my school actually let me go to boot camp before my class had even graduated. So I left January of 2001. And just thinking about that year just makes me feel old because that was such a long time ago. But I left for boot camp in January 2001 of my senior year of high school, while the remaining my other classmates were still in school. So I went to boot camp. I completed boot camp, and I was actually in Air Force technical training, which is like kind of our school or training to become a medic. And then my program let me go back to walk with my graduating class in May when my class had graduated. So I actually walked across the stage in my Air Force uniform. I'm not sure how common that is. My dad had to sign for me at age 17 to join, but that's what happened. And, Air Force and the military was probably one of the greatest things for me because for those who may or may not know, I grew up a pretty rough and challenging background, and joining the Air Force was a way for me to get out of that environment, and also a way to serve my country, have a way to pay for school and all of that. So January, went to boot camp, came back to walk with my graduating class, and then I started my military career in 2004 ish, kind of when the war kicked off in Iraq, when Fallujah got invaded. That's when we were activated. I was a part of a team in the Air Force called the Medical Expeditionary Team, and our team can be deployed or sent to any location in the world and set up a fully functional hospital within 24 hours. So that hospital was made out of tents. We would have an area for the ER up front. We would have an area for the ICU in the back, an area for the operating room, an area for the general medicine floor. We had a CT scan that we would take with us. So this whole team was comprised of medics, nurses, doctors, x-ray technicians, administrative technicians. We had people that assisted us and our computer issues and stuff like that to get set up. So it's comprised of a team, and I was part of that team to set up these fully functional hospitals. And we trained on this. We went out into the field and we learned how to set up these tents. This is where this goes, this is where this goes, and everything had to be set up within 24 hours and ready to accept patients. So in Iraq, we were sent to a place called Balad, Iraq. It was maybe 20 miles north of Baghdad. And at that time, it was a really dangerous place. I would say on average, we probably got shot at maybe 3 to 5 times per day. The place was called Mortarville. Mortars are rockets, or they're kind of grenades that the enemy can basically fire from an unknown distance. So they shot these rockets at us on a daily basis. And I remember one instance when I had just gotten to country. I think I was a staff sergeant at that time, which means I had troops that were under me. I was maybe 21, maybe at that time, and we had just got in country maybe a week earlier or something like that. And I was taking care of a wounded soldier. I think he had got shot, and I heard a big go over my head. And I was like, "What the hell was that?" It was the loudest kind of noise I have ever heard in my life, and everyone that was in the ward at that time, they maybe had 10 or 15. There were some Iraqi people who got hurt, and they were in the ward also. Everybody just stopped and looked around at each other, and all of a sudden everybody got their gear. So we had Kevlar vest, the bulletproof vest, which probably weighed maybe 20, 30 pounds. We had our weapons, which was M16, had our helmet in it, and then our medical stuff. So whenever there was an attack on our particular base or location, there were sirens that would go off, and they would make these kind of like police sirens. That is basically to alert everyone to take cover because we're getting attacked. And it's called a code red. And it's this loud noise that is, they put up these blaring sirens, and it's basically, it means to grab your gear and then go into the bunker. The bunkers were these metal objects that or areas that you can go into. They're just made out of concrete. It's just another protective layer from like a missile or gunfire or something like that. So we grabbed our gear. I grabbed my gun, and then I put my helmet on, my Kevlar vest, went into the bunker to get away from, I had to, the patients were kind of limping out, or some patients stayed because they couldn't move, and found out that what went over our head was actually a rocket. The rocket did not go off. It was called a dud. And if that rocket would have went off, I wouldn't be here today talking to you guys, because the only thing that was protecting, there was really nothing protecting that rocket from our tent. That rocket would have destroyed our tent because of the size. It basically hit the ground, but it didn't go off. And I was like, holy shit, this is war. And before that, maybe we had some gunfire like go off our plane on the coming into Iraq and landing in Iraq, but that was the first time, the first close call that we had when we got there. And I was like, damn, that's when it really stuck in, like, I'm in war, I can lose my life. So that just stuck with me, and I was like, damn, that's crazy that, these people were shooting at us, and we're just trying to take care of patients here. I was a medic and working with the whole medical team. So they actually had to get an explosive ordnance team, which is a group of people in the Air Force, and their whole job is to detonate bombs. So they went and detonated the bomb and took care of it. But there was a lot of close calls in Iraq where we got shot at. Unfortunately, I made it back from that environment. I don't consider myself a true hero. Yes, I did go to war, but the true heroes are the guys on the front lines who are actually out there doing the hand-to-hand combat, and they're the infantry, the Rangers, the PJs, all of those guys. They're the true heroes. I would see them walking around, especially the Navy SEALs, and they looked intimidating as hell. They had all black on. They had a black ski mask. Everything was black. Their weapons, you couldn't even see their face. So those were the those guys were really intimidating. I was like, man, I would not want to mess with one of those guys. They look like they would kill you just by looking at you. So, but I was in Iraq for approximately five months. It did get hot there, 120, 130 degrees at times. We had to wear our vests and our helmets. But we took care of over 800 patients, and these were wounded soldiers, these were Iraqi people, these were even Iraqi prisoners of war. So the Geneva Conventions, the medical Geneva Conventions, says that we are supposed to take care of the wounded prisoners of war. I had a hard time with that at first. I didn't really understand, like, why we're taking care of a person who just shot our wounded soldier. If that was the reverse, I'm pretty sure that they probably would not take care of an American soldier if they caught our American soldiers as prisoners of war and provide them with, good medical care. But that's one of the things about being in the military. You just have to take it and run with it. But going to war was a pretty dangerous time. I'm glad I made it back, but it definitely made me appreciate life. Coming back, a lot of people deal with PTSD and nightmares and flashbacks, and when I got back, I couldn't, I had a hard time going outside because I got back around July, 4th of July, firecrackers, fireworks, because I heard all of that in war. So you just immediately flash back to those times where those bombs were hitting. I remember one time I was putting my gear on, just a normal day, and I heard a boomed so loud, it just put me in a frenzy. I just curled up like a ball like this here, because I had never heard a loud noise that loud. It was basically a bomb, like really close to where we were. So you know, being a medic in the military was a great experience. It basically taught me how to improvise. It taught me, you know, a lot of things to do when there's a mass casualty, which means that there's lots of different patients where you don't have the manpower to take care of them all. We had several of those while I was there, but I'm just glad I made it back out of that environment. And everyone else out there who is a military veteran or active duty or currently in the military, thank you for your service. But I just wanted to make a video about my experiences going to war. If you guys have any questions or would like to connect or talk about your experiences as well, I would love to hear them. Put them in the comment box below. But thank you guys for watching this video. I also have another video about my reasonings for not wanting to become a military doctor, and I'll put that video right up here. So definitely check that out. I think the military is a great option if you want to pay for medical school and or pay for college, or have a way to pay for your school and also at the same time serve your country. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe. New videos coming every week. You don't want to miss these videos, so stay tuned.